right, we got switch out. Never forget about 2016 OKC Thunder, the most important team of the decade. That's facts right there. So close! So close!
I'm incredibly interested and intrigued by the fact that Kevin Durant is gone, because now we're going to get an opportunity to see the guy who is considered to be the alpha male in terms of his approach, desperate to want to be that guy. Now this is going to be handed to Russell Westbrook.
And so the question is he going to require another surgical procedure?
He's not making the progress we hope.
To either put in a bigger screw or a plate and bone graft this fracture, or do they just back him off for the rest of the year, let this thing heal completely, and then allow him to play next season?
Westbrook essentially saying he doesn't care about that individual award. Skip Bayless, are you buying it?
I am not buying it. I believe he badly wanted to be the All-Star
Doesn't mean nothing. Good job, hooray! I'm at home watching it. Doesn't mean
game MVP, and he was.
Let's do yeah, they didn't make the playoffs because KD was hurt, so they didn't make the playoffs.
I believe he became
on the last day. It took him to the last day, and they found out they didn't make the playoffs. Whoop-de-doo! Because no such thing as playing tournament back then.
Enamored of, if not obsessed with, triple doubles.
Kevin, with your free agency all year long, you know, the fans around here obviously want you back. Do you want them expressing how much they want you back, or do you already know, or would you rather not hear anything from the public?
I mean, if that's something I can't control.
The 2016 Oklahoma City Thunder are actually one of the most important teams of the last decade. This is a team that featured the first and the last of the Sam Presti MVP draftees, and this team created so much of what we've seen after this historical year. As crazy as it sounds, if it weren't for this team, I don't think we get arguably the greatest team ever with the KD Warriors. I don't think we see a player average a triple-double for 3 consecutive seasons with a free Russell Westbrook. LeBron may actually have a few more rings. Kyrie may have never left Cleveland had he not met such a powerhouse in 2017. James Harden may be a champion. So many what-ifs that stems from this one team in small market Oklahoma City. The Warriors were obviously great pre-KD. They won 73 games. But with KD, they were damn near unbeatable. And the ripple effect that super team created around the league all starts with the 2016 Oklahoma City Thunder. All starts with the 2016 Oklahoma.
Remember him? Remember Andre Roberson, only in the league because his defense.
Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, to get a better understanding of the 2016 Thunder, you have to know a little bit about the 2015 Thunder. When you think about the
I just told you about them
2010s OKC Thunder, it's always so many what ifs with a team that literally drafted 3 future MVPs consecutively. But the reality of the situation is, after they lost James Harden in 2012, this team really only had 2 realistic cracks at a championship. In 2013, Russell Westbrook got hurt with the infamous Patrick Beverley play. That obviously ended their season a little prematurely.
Bro, you let old man Torian Prince Lamb on
play. That
Torian Prince, old man Torian Prince Lamb on all of you? I remember Reggie Jackson, bro. If Reggie Jackson stayed with the Thunder and started being selfish, bro, talking about I should be the starter. You would have won 6 man a year easily. But nah. And he would have had a ring too. But nah, you wanted to be a star player. You never turned out to be a star. You weren't even an all-star. Like, I think your highest points per game average like 19 points per game. You thought you didn't want to play Russ's backup, bro. It's not Russ's back. It's the 6-man role. If you stayed in OKC and got the 6-man award, we would have won a chip. Russ would have had a chip by now. You and Russ would have had a chip. But look at y'all, ringless. Whoop-de-doo! Dang, Reggie Jackson one of my favorite players on that team too, bro. He just wanted to be a star. But he could have won 6-man a year easily.
Obviously ended their season a little prematurely. And
you think he dunked on by old man Torian Prince. That's what you get.
Fresh off an MVP season, he just wasn't healthy. He entered that year with a Jones fracture in his foot, which ultimately caused him to miss the first 17 games, and this injury really lingered. He tried to come back and play, and he played well. He played 27 games, and he put up great numbers, but there was just too much uncomfort and not enough progress for him to really get into the flow of an 82-game season grind plus a possible playoffs. I've always said this. This right here, this one particular season, was always the beginning of the end of the KD Russell Westbrook era. Like Stephen A said, we all were curious as to what Russell Westbrook could really do as the true number one. He always had the more alpha personality, but could his game actually carry a team? When Russ got to taste for 1 year what it felt like to be the clear man without KD, I truly believe he fell in love with it, and he saw how dominant he could be. In the games Russ played with KD that year,
Russ break out without KD.
Look at what he averaged. Look at how many shots he took. Look at his usage rate. Now look at those exact same numbers without KD. Usage rate historically high. Average is damn near the same as his MVP year. He was clearly trying to make a point as that team fell just short of the playoffs. That season, without Kevin Durant, Russ led the league in scoring, usage rate, field goal attempts, turnovers, and he was second in PER. What makes this Russ season without KD even more fascinating is the free agency situation for both players. The following season summer, which was 2016, Kevin Durant was set to be a free agent. The following season summer, which was 2017, Russell Westbrook was set to be a free agent. So it was really starting to become a question as to whose team really was it. And that one Russell Westbrook year without KD obviously made that question a lot more interesting.
They should do it, because if you have all four of those guys, Clay, Draymond, Steph, and KD, one of them could get hurt in the playoffs and you could still win. Whereas the Thunder, when they lost Harden, Ibaka gets hurt, Westbrook gets hurt, Durant, they're toast. They have no chance.
Okay,
Zach Lowe said this?
One of them could get hurt in the playoffs and you could still win. Whereas the Thunder, when they lost Harden, Ibaka gets hurt, Westbrook gets hurt, Durant, they're toast. They have no
February 2006
chance.
Dang, Zach. Bro, Zach, you did this. Bro, you need to shut your mouth, bro. KD listened to you and went to the Warriors.
Going into Russ and KD's final year together, they weren't perfect, and to me they had glaring holes, but they were extremely fun to watch. A team and roster that was far from balanced with how they were constructed, very reliant on isolation basketball, and way too dependent on two stars, still being one of the most dangerous teams in a very competitive conference. Ooh! Kevin Durant and Russ that year were literally the only pair of teammates to both be top 10.
Better than this Russ on the Lakers, bro. Y'all don't want to be dissing them, but y'all don't deserve them. Y'all don't deserve them. You won't see this Russ next year.
How much that team relied on those two stars heavily to generate really any type of offense. The wings on that team consisted of a very streaky, inconsistent Dion Waiters, Andre Roberson.
Oh my goodness, Dion Waiters, bro. Philly cheese, Mr. Philly cheese, bro. Come on, man.
Streaky, inconsistent.
Dunk the ball. He was in the middle. He said, should I dunk it or should I lay it up? He got caught up in between. That's why he did this.
Andre Roberson, who was known mainly for his defense, he was kind of like the Matisse Thybulle for that team. And Anthony Morrow to give them a little bit of reliable spacing. Again.
That's why I said Reggie Jackson should have just stayed as a six man. You put an average 20 off the bench and want a chip in the process. Players nowadays, bro, they just want to be a star. Not everyone could be the star. Klay Thompson could be a star player of his own team, but nah. He was at, I'll play next to Steph and Draymond and KD when KD was there. Then win these chips.
Was really put on Russ and KD's shoulders. Hence why KD had that infamous burner.
He didn't like the order play for. He didn't like so Kevin Durant didn't like the OKC Thunder? It's just him and Russ.
Tweet. Now, even with how one-dimensional this team ultimately was, they did have a major, almost historical advantage with how they were built. This team was absolute dogs.
They had athletes, though. They was like surrounded by athletes. Dogs.
With Russell Westbrook being the best rebounding guard ever, Kevin Durant prioritizing the glass being this team's leader, this team led the league in rebounds, rebound differential by a massive margin, and consequently second chance points. I couldn't really find the tracking data before the 2000s, but since the 2000s, that was the highest rebound differential by a team, and it's not really close. Just for a little bit of context, this past season, the highest rebound differential was the Houston Rockets at a +4. That team was double of that. That team had 5 players averaging at least 6 boards a game.
Russ, Cancer, 'cause that's what Cancer did. He would play no defense, but he'll get offensive rebounds and points, no problem. Whoop-de-doo! Steven Adams, KD, Roberson, I guess he averaged 6 rebounds. Ibaka, I guess.
Just for more context as to how great of a rebounding team that was historically, to that point, there hadn't been a team average that many rebounds a night for the past 23 seasons. Russell Westbrook won his 2nd consecutive All-Star Game MVP. Russell Westbrook made his first team All-NBA, while Kevin Durant was 2nd. And this team finished just behind 2 of the most dominant teams literally in NBA history. And ironically enough, that one-dimensional, kind of forgotten about OKC team really should have beaten them both.
They did.
The 2016 playoffs, they were pretty wild, and obviously a lot of it featured this team. Their journey would start playing against an extremely old Mavericks team. Now this series, it was dominated by OKC, but it was pretty significant because Mark Cuban, the loud owner of the Mavericks, he threw an instigating wrench into a duo that already had much uncertainty about their future.
He called Russ, yeah, Russ wasn't a superstar, and that's what KD came and said, hold on, Russ. He's an idiot. That's what we think about him.
He basically downed Russell Westbrook, and he said there's only one superstar in OKC, which to me always felt calculated because Mark Cuban's a smart guy, and he knew what loomed over this franchise in the summer. Ironically enough, in that specific series, Kevin Durant had arguably his worst series of his career.
Game 2.
In Game 2, Kevin Durant missed 26 shots. That's still the most misses in a playoff game in modern NBA history. That was actually—
Dang, KD! And you played 44 minutes too? Dang! 7 turnovers? That's not the KD I know. And they lost that game too, because it says L right here. Or something like that. I think it says L. Yeah.
Inefficient series of Kevin Durant's entire career. On the flip side, Russell Westbrook had literally one of the best series of his career. Russ averaged damn near a 26-point triple-double efficiently, especially for Russ.
That's what I said. This was the most efficient season. This was Russ' most efficient season, 2015, 2016. If he gets that back to that level, which he will, league is in trouble.
Close out Game 5.
Because that was his most efficient season, in my opinion. He wasn't doing too much. Because usually sometimes Russ does too much. But Rice was just steady. He was just steady, right in the middle. Not doing too little and not doing too much. Right in the middle, right steady.
Russ led both teams.
This is my favorite Russ of all time. And he had the mohawk, too. Woo!
In points, rebounds, assists, and plus minus.
Were you aware of Mark Cuban's comments before the game when he said
That's what I'm talking about.
Kevin was the only superstar on this team? And how do you react to that?
Hold up. He's an idiot. Don't listen to this. He's an idiot. All right, that's what we got to say about that. You know, he's an idiot. Next question.
Now, the second round is where stuff gets very interesting, and to me is one of the more overlooked moments of this entire crazy playoffs. Golden State won 73 games. Obviously, that broke the record, and that's going to draw more headlines. But the Spurs won 6 less games. That's still 7th most in NBA.
Are your kids in grades 6 to 11? Harvard has made SAT.
Who's you supposed about webinar? I know you have your own webinar.
History. Not only that, they tied one of the greatest teams ever with the—
They were 40-1 at home?
Most home wins in a single season, literally losing 1 game. Damn near everybody thought Golden State versus San Antonio in the conference finals was inevitable, and nobody really gave OKC a true shot.
Yeah, and they were slept on this season too, because KD just came off injury, so OKC was slept on. It was all about the Warriors and the Spurs and the Cavs. That was what it was all about. All the other teams, all Warriors, Spurs, Cavs, all 27 teams was just slept on.
If you look at the ESPN predictions before this series, only Royce Young, Chris Broussard, and Ramona Shelburne picked OKC. Now, San Antonio won Game 1 behind LaMarcus Aldridge having one of the best performances.
He dropped like 50, didn't he?
It felt like this man hit every mid-range.
That was his first season with the Spurs too, I believe.
Shot he took.
He's at Portland. Their whole starting 5. Portland's whole starting 5 of 2015 left that offseason, except for Dame.
In Game 2, he came out on the exact same rampage, but he really didn't get much help, especially
now Dame wants out. What
OKC squeezed by, still in home court. Now, San Antonio did come back and win Game 3, but after that, OKC came back and flexed their biggest strengths, which to me were their athleticism and their size.
Yep.
San Antonio looked a bit outmatched and old. Russ and KD both averaged 30 plus in their 3 straight victories to close them out in 6, and they absolutely killed San Antonio in the glass with a plus 34 rebound advantage. This was officially Tim Duncan's last game, and the Spurs' historical season would surprisingly come to an early ending. OKC versus Golden State. Pretty much a brewing rivalry, with Steph hitting this iconic shot earlier that year, and the Warriors eclipsing OKC as the new proven heavyweights in the conference because they actually won a championship. Now going into this series, OKC, they were heavy underdogs. If you look at those same ESPN predictions, nobody picked OKC. Now they did steal a pretty ugly game 1 with really nobody shooting well. But in game 2, it looked like the Warriors restored order with a dominating win to tie the series. When they got back to loud, crazy Oklahoma City, one of the best playoff environments in the NBA, they completely bullied Golden State. I'll always remember Russ hitting this shot and dapping up his brother.
Yeah.
And me thinking,
yeah, me too, man. Dapping up his brother.
Damn, you could really stick a fork in Golden State. The Warriors had only lost by 20 points plus.
Then they won the next game too.
Twice that whole season. OKC beat them by 28 in game 3 and came back and beat them by 24 in game 4. Oklahoma City had 30 more rebounds in just those 2 games against Golden State. Stephen Curry was damn near a minus 40 in game 3. To this day, that still stands as the worst of his entire playoff career. But in games 5 through 7, the infamous lone league games, the your turn, my turn isolation basketball, it hit its absolute.
Bro, remember Sean Livingston, bro? He reminds me of a LaMelo Ball, but less flashy.
Peak with that team, and they never had a plan B. In those 3 devastating losses, between the 2 of them, they were shooting 52 times a game and collectively hitting under 40% of them. Meanwhile, Klay Thompson had one of the greatest, most iconic
oh my goodness, man, not this again.
Playoff games ever with game 6. And he and Steph in those 3 historical comeback wins, they averaged a pretty efficient 60. Now, I respect KD, and I completely understand why he felt like he had to leave Russ to really elevate and win in his career. But you could never blame Russ solely for that meltdown.
Well, I'm viewing it as the weakest move I've ever seen from a superstar. Plain and simple. That's just how I look at it.
As we all know, on the 4th of July...
His mom came onto the show and made him apologize.
Kevin Durant released this letter announcing that he's joining the Warriors, the team.
Where you say he's going to the Warriors at? Bro, I'm not reading all this. Where's the Warriors? Bro, he said nothing about the Warriors in here.
Won against and blew a chance at the fight.
Bro, he said nothing about the Warriors in here.
And the rest, on the 4th of July, Kevin Durant released this letter announcing that he's joining the Warriors, the team he just led 3-1 against and blew a chance at the finals. And the rest is history. Now, I always wondered exactly what OKC could have done had KD stayed. The roster looked like it was about to significantly improve the moment KD left. Oklahoma City traded for Victor Oladipo at the draft. And Al Horford, he was on the cusp of joining OKC had KD stayed. Enes Kanter and Andre Roberson, they were both somewhat unplayable against Golden State. So those 2 were major upgrades. The 2016 Oklahoma City Thunder, believe it or not, they're one of the most important teams in NBA history.
Oh, that's right, bro. We did get Oladipo. We traded Ibaka for Oladipo. Then Al Horford could have came and, Al Horford stretch big, smart. Russ could have had a ring. They would have beat the Cavs in the finals, no doubt, bro.
Andre Iguodala, he said that team was the best that whole 2016 season.
Yup, he said that team was the best, not the Cavs. Not the Cavs, but the Thunder. Yes, what I'm saying. Thunder would have beat the Cavs. Andre Iguodala said it. And this is Mr. Man right here that holds the fan of the universe on the line. Martians had a death ray pointing towards Earth. When we got one shot, you better hit it. He said the Thunder is the best team. I ain't lying. I'm not.
And man, if they just capitalized on what he saw, how different would history really look?
Yep.
Did the fact that not only Kevin left, but it was to Golden State, did that make it sting even more?
Sting for who?
You?